Season 7's 5th episode of Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. aired last night, and it's another good one. And I, ever the fan of the show, am here again to break it all down. So I hope you'll join me after the intro. Well, hello there. My name's Jeremy and welcome back to Freeform Disney, where I talk about all aspects of Disney, from the animated movies to the theme parks to Star Wars, Marvel, and Pixar, and the TV shows, and everything else in between. And that is why it's Freeform. And keep coming back every day for new daily content. If you're not subscribed yet, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We're watching the newest season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and it's time to talk all about Episode 5, also known as a Trout in the Milk. That's an old phrase which actually is a lot more straightforward than last time around, and it's a reference to seeing the screwy things happening in the timeline and being able to surmise that it was due to the Chronicoms messing with the timeline. Now, there was a lot going on in this episode. The season is really starting to take more shape as more of its arcs start to reveal themselves or really start to get some real progress. So here's what happened. First off, the opening was like a 70s spy show, and that was totally unexpected and totally awesome. I mean, the voiceover in there, the colors, the music, that was fun. So we're over in 1973, which, as was indicated by the Alice Cooper song we had at the end of the last episode, and we start by seeing everyone in their new time period outfits. Which it's always fun to see our cast in some different time period and see new outfits each time. Like, I'm curious to see what we'll see the next time they end up jumping. Oh, always fun, always fun. Oh, I do have to say, Sousa chickened out though and just stayed in a suit. But yeah, what can you do? And speaking of Sousa though, he really is this huge fish out of water. I mean, he's been taken out of his time period and his life, and he's had really no time to process any of it yet. He wakes up and, well, guess we're jumping to the future and we're pretty much right up into it. I mean, dang, it's bad enough to have to deal with that in the first place, but even worse if you've got no time. And that's really not intended as a pun because we're time traveling, but hey, if you want to take it that way, go for it. But yeah, Sousa, he wishes he could say goodbye to the people from his life, and I've got to imagine Peggy Carter would certainly be one of those people. And hell, he's mad about being taken out and understandably wants to blame the team. I mean, again, how do you cope when you haven't even had a chance to fully comprehend what has happened, let alone the chance to grieve? That said, we do get some comedy out of it too when Daisy shows him a smartphone. I hope to see some more of Sousa really getting to see the future and what the heck that does to him seeing the new technology. That could be interesting. And definitely I want to delve more into how the heck you process getting taken out of your time, losing your life just like that. I mean, sure, Deke goes ahead and argues we've all been taken out of our lives. Yeah, but you chose to. And you have the expectation to be able to go back to your lives, generally speaking. Deke, actually, I suppose, is more of an exception there because he came from the future and left that. But then again, I think he prefers this to the future. But even so, I mean, Deke does have a bit more of a point there than anyone else on Zephyr 1 would have. Because again, they can all get back to their relatively normal lives. Sousa never will be able to. Everyone he knew, well, by the time he gets to our current future, I mean, it will be 65 years later. Essentially, everyone he knew is probably dead. Yeah, that's a tough pill to swallow right there. Dang. Well, while we're on that topic of messing with the timeline, we start to delve a little more deeply into that topic this time, especially now that the Chronicoms have made some significant changes. One of those questions is, well, what if we had chosen to do that ourselves? What if Freddy had been taken out decades ago? And heck, could they have found a way to let Sousa continue to live his own life in his own time? When you start getting into all of this, well, things start getting really messy really fast. And that's not even getting into the issue of multiple timelines and are we actually in our own timeline anymore? Something I talked about a little bit at the end of the last video, and hey, they actually addressed it directly here and pretty much said, yeah, let's not think too much about that. That's pretty much what I ended up saying too, right? I mean, what else can you do? Such a mess. Well, moving back to our agents, we get to see and hear a lot more about May dealing with her lack of emotions and the uncertainty that brings to living her life and what her future might be. Let alone the relationship she has with Coulson, which is a mess because it's not really quite Coulson, it's robot Coulson, and then she doesn't have any emotions, and whew, yeah, what a mess. But hey, she does get to use her new superpower in a very useful way once during the episode, in detecting a little bit of deception going on. Well, anyway, as we start into the episode, we head on over back to the bar because we're in New York again, and it's good old party time down there. And we find out, well, the party is because Project Insight is happening in 1976. You know, Project Insight, the evil, nasty Hydra plot from the Winter Soldier. That Project Insight. Where we get to go kill all kinds of people, like, say we're going to kill Bruce Banner when he's young, or Nick Fury, or etc., etc., etc. You get the idea. Yeah, so this is now happening like 40 years earlier than it did. Now, it's not with helicarriers, of course. It's a whole bunch of satellites this time. So thank you, Chronicoms. Oh, and also, Wilfred Malik is still alive, and so is his son Nathaniel, who we meet. Now, in our timeline, they were both already dead. Wilfred died for, well, unknown reasons in 1970, and Nathaniel then also died because he got betrayed by his brother Gideon and was sacrificed via the obelisk to Hive. Good old season 3 right there. So this means all 3 of those Maliks are alive. I gotta wonder also, did they give up on the ritual? I mean, with the Chronicoms coming in, maybe they went ahead and decided, yeah, no, we don't need to keep doing that. We've got more knowledge and know that Hive is, not great. I can't imagine the Chronicoms exactly want Hive coming over to Earth. That doesn't help them any. Oh, and this next one? Oh, this was something I was hoping for. So we finally got to meet General Rick Stoner in the flesh. I was really hoping we'd get to bring in actor Patrick Warburton, and, well, guess what? The show obliged. I mean, he is too much fun. Loved him throughout the episode. And I'm really hoping he'll have an even bigger role in the next episode. So here's hoping. Now, talking about that whole party there, it shouldn't come as too much of a surprise, but of course our team got made during the party. I mean, they're known to the Chronicoms, Wilfred Malik knows multiple of them directly, and Sousa, the legend that he is, has the potential to be recognized by every single S.H.I.E.L.D. agent at that party. So it shouldn't be a surprise that at least one of them got made during the course of it. In this case, it's Wilfred Malik recognizing Coulson, but still, lots of other possibilities there. So they end up having to hightail it out of there, and luckily Enoch was there in a getaway car. Yay, we've got Enoch back! Finally! I mean, dang, that's finally. Poor Enoch was stuck there for over 40 years just waiting for the team to come back and pick him up. Oof, dang. And now that Enoch's back on board, we head all back to Zephyr 1, and all of a sudden we've got a time jump because the Chronicoms jumped early. Which, of course, raises the question of how the heck did they do that? We don't have any answers because before it was all about hitting those certain waves in time and only being able to use that. So are there just multiple waves and we don't always choose to take each one that goes? I'm assuming something like that is at play, but I'm sure we'll hear a little more as time moves forward. Time? Anyway. Well, that brings me over to Simmons. There's long been something off about Simmons. The fact that she doesn't appear to have aged, yet has conducted all kinds of research and invented new technologies that I would think would have taken decades, is what led a whole bunch of people to speculate that she might be a robot or, shall we say, a Chronicom herself. But the show has gone out of its way to argue against that, both from the EMP going off that she sets off, and also May got emotions from her when she touched Simmons, so that seems to have fully dispelled that theory. But in this episode, we finally get some more direct hints on what's going on. We even see this funky device in the back of her neck with 3 red lights on it. Can't tell you what the heck that is. And then we got to see her go talk to Enoch. We learn a little bit more, but it's super, super mysterious right now. Which I suppose is what you'd expect for being just over a third of the way through the season. She says she's been slipping without Enoch around. Should she have known about the time jump? She's afraid to tell the rest of the team, but doesn't know why she's afraid. And this just opens up a whole bunch of more questions. And what is Enoch's role in all of this? Why does he seem to know exactly what to do, and how is he keeping Simmons from slipping? Well, I am definitely intrigued, and definitely don't have the answers to this one. Very interesting. So maybe she is still human. We've got an interesting device in her neck going ahead and helping. Although, wouldn't that device have been affected by the EMP? Oh, now there's a different interesting question for you. Or maybe that one is EMP shielded. Who the heck knows? Too much to go ahead and try to figure out right there. Yeah, although maybe it even ties into good old Fitz and why we haven't seen Fitz. Wouldn't be surprised if there's a connection there. Well, anyway, as far as the episode as a whole is concerned for the plot, it's now July 4th, 1976. It's the bicentennial itself, which also happens to be launch day for Project Insight. We found out earlier that the lighthouse was being used to set up the project and where the launch would come from, so it's time to head over there and flood the base to stop the launch. And of course, everything goes perfectly according to plan. Yet no, it doesn't. Because, well, the Chronicoms are 10 steps ahead and apparently have been letting our team go ahead and do this just so they could keep hope and be able to capture them. Yeah. So what happens? Mac's parents are in the base, and they would be killed if the bombs go off from Coulson and May. So Mac ends up aborting the mission. That leads to Coulson and May getting captured. It also means the rocket ends up launching with Project Insight. So therefore, Zephyr 1 has to go over and shoot it out of the sky. Which works, but apparently it's super bad because it gives their position away. Now, that seems to be the goal the Chronicoms had, and our team certainly thinks it's a really bad thing, but I would think it only matters if the Chronicoms were right there ready to fire on Zephyr 1. And I would have thought that would be the cliffhanger if that's the case, so I'm a little surprised that didn't happen. But I guess maybe it's just that we'll start off the next episode with a big aerial fight or something. Maybe that's what's going to happen. I mean, we'll have to wait till next time to find out for sure. Oh yeah, Sousa and Daisy, at the end of the episode, get captured by Nathaniel Malik, who is busy contacting Daniel Whitehall in the hopes of getting Quake's powers grafted onto him. Yo, woo. So I'm pretty sure we're going to see Daniel Whitehall next time, and there's one of our villains from earlier in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Mr. I'm experimenting on all the Inhumans, and what's some nasty stuff. And who knows, I actually might bring in Daisy's mother again, too, for that matter. There's some interesting possibilities of what we could do with that. But yeah, the connections definitely continuing and branching out, especially as we're getting closer to our own time. Okay, a couple more things to talk about in this episode. First, we had some great moments with Mac and Yo-Yo. They really had a chance just to go ahead and almost have some time to slow down and really get to talk, which was quite nice. I really liked that. And frankly, they've been needing every chance to catch a breather and talk about their relationship ever since we established that they were going to head back down that road back in season 6. So hopefully they'll get a little more downtime soon and we'll get to keep expanding on that and see some more of their relationship and their character development. Definitely hoping so. And I can't stop talking about this episode without talking about good old Deke. Now, by the way, yes, I said Deke this time. I didn't screw up his name and say Zeke for who knows what the heck reason was going on last video right there. I don't know what was going on. Anyway. So Deke is still continuing to confront his demons for not having murdered Freddie Malik back in the second episode of 1931, given everything Freddie Malik ends up doing and the many deaths he causes, etc., etc. Well, in this episode, things have come full circle. He and Yo-Yo end up confronting Freddie, and in the course of it, while Freddie's giving this big old villain speech, well, he shoots Freddie in cold blood. He tries to justify it a bit with the knowledge that Freddie should have died 3 years ago, but I don't think Deke is going to be able to sit well with this one on his conscience either. So I really have the question of, hey, where will Deke go from here? Will he keep going further on this, or will his troubled conscience make him start to swing the other direction? Deke's character arc is certainly continuing and is one of the more interesting character arcs, I think, of the season so far. And I have to say, prior to season 7 here, I wouldn't have expected Deke to have one of the most interesting character arcs. Certainly season 6, it was not exactly the case right there. So it's surprising, and I'm really enjoying that character arc. And hey, there we have it. That's another episode completed and one episode closer to the end of the show. And this was a good one. An episode that was chock full of references and opens up a number of new possibilities for our characters and where the future might take us, and all kinds of new plot possibilities and subplots that might open up. Now, this one really felt like an episode that expands the horizons of the show, so definitely a bit of a setup episode in that sense with all kinds of possibilities emerging. And I'm looking forward to seeing where the show takes us from here. And hey, with that, it's that time. What about you? Did you love seeing the Maliks? Or maybe you just loved seeing Freddy finally get his due when Deke took him out. What really stuck out for you this episode? Let me know down below in the comments. And thanks for watching. If you liked the video, please give it a like, share it with anyone you think will too, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done it yet already. I'll see you back here tomorrow for another new episode of Freeform Disney. Have a magical day, and may the Force be with you. Always.